Hello, my name is Tylluan. I'm a solitary pagan witch, I'm an author and the founder of the Wolf and Howl Press. Today's little chat really follows on from the previous one. It's about creating a psychic shield. I might have done one of these before, but it doesn't really matter. It's just a nice thing to talk about in the light of the previous talk. Why do we need a psychic shield? Well, we need it for several reasons. Okay, there are people out there who may hit us with an accidental hex. That's what the previous talk was about. So it's not a bad idea, if you know people like that, to keep the protections in place. Another reason you sometimes need it is when you're in a very stressful situation or a difficult situation, when you feel surrounded by people who are hostile to your aims or ambitions, when you feel you're in a place with very hostile vibes. Some places, I haven't done much on this actually, about chthonic entities and how some places can have very bad vibes. Most of the problems we get are from other people, and they're from the living and not the dead. I would like to think that the dead have better things to do. So, setting up a psychic shield, the easiest way, and I want to start with the easiest way because people will often say, oh, that's not advanced enough for me. Well, my view is, if it works, it's fine. What does it matter if it's simple? It's fine. Now, think about a shield. What is a shield? A shield was a part of armour. We still use the word shield, where we shield our computers with an antivirus, or we... Oh, I don't know, the Apollo spacecraft used to have a shield when they were re-entering the Earth's atmosphere to save them from getting burned. So we still have the concept of a shield. A shield is a defensive piece of equipment, essentially. The easiest type of shield to imagine is something, the sort of thing you find in the Robin Hood stories, perhaps, you know, something you can visualise. And I would say, draw it. Or find a magazine picture, something like that. Draw it, copy it, trace it, doesn't matter. The only thing I would say is it has to be fairly big and lightweight. Well, that's okay. It doesn't have to be made of wrought iron and planks of wood. These days you have all sorts of lightweight stuff, which is very effective. So you imagine your shield, you choose your shape. It's either going to be a rectangle, which is quite good because it does cover you quite comprehensively, but you could use an ordinary shield, traditional shield's shape where it tapers to a point at the bottom. Doesn't really matter. Or a round shield for that matter, which is quite nice. Experiment. It's your shield, not mine. So you start with that and you start really thinking about this shield. Now, in much the same way as we've talked about accidental hexes, when you are constructing psychic armour, whether it's offensive or defensive, you have to think about it a lot. You have to give it your thoughts. You have to spend a little bit of time regularly thinking, looking at it, getting to know it. One good way I found to do this, if you use a computer, is to make it your desktop thing, your screensaver, to make the picture come up. Just so that you look at it regularly. And also to start thinking about, well, how would I use it? How heavy would it be? What would it feel like? It's got to be relatively light because you've got to move it often, and you don't want something which is going to give you a sort of metaphorical crick in the neck or the back. So you have to think about it, start thinking how you use it, what do you do? And then the idea is that whenever you're with somebody who is very negative, or you find yourself in a negative situation, that mentally, and it is mental, you feel yourself lifting your arm and your shield to block it. It is this feeling, somebody says something nasty, up goes your shield before they've even finished speaking, and bang, the nastiness, if you like, is deflected. Now you might think, oh, this is childish. This is the sort of thing you tell the grandchildren. Well, no, it's not childish. It's simple, yes, but it works. And I know this because time and time again I've suggested variations on this theme. People come back and say, well, it's really strange. The other person seems to realise I'm not taking it on board, what they're saying or doing. I lift my shield up mentally. I mean, you might find in the early days that you do actually find yourself moving your arm a little bit, just to remind yourself, yeah, the shield's going up. I don't mean you suddenly put your arms in the air, that would look a bit strange. But I think you really do need to practice with it. Create your little shield. I mean, this is good if it's a particular person, particular place, and you feel that the attack is coming from one direction. What do you do if you find the negativity is coming from several directions? And one of the worst places for this, believe it or not, are large department stores in the women's clothing. And I've often picked up the most terrible vibes there, where it's a kind of negativity where people can't find what they want, they can't find the size they want, the colour they want, the style they want. They also have body issues of their own, so they don't like it when they've tried it on. And there's this kind of terrible combination of rage and disappointment, and it's not directed at us, but it nevertheless makes for a very unpleasant experience. And when this happens, it's not a bad idea to construct for yourself mentally a kind of perspex bubble. A bubble's a good idea because it covers you from head to foot and you're standing in the middle of it. But it doesn't slow you up in any way. You move, it moves. You sit down, it adjusts accordingly. So it's not a problem. It's not any kind of inhibition to you. It doesn't stop what you're doing. But it does protect you. It protects you from that. And you do find often when you do that, when you go shopping or wherever it is you have the problem, it can be a very refreshing experience to feel yourself protected. And then you can just literally, you know, people would say, well, I can't live in a bubble. No, you shouldn't. It'd be terrible if you did that, because you'd have no experience of real life, and you need these experiences. I'm only talking about times when it is really, really oppressive and negative. The shield is different because you can lift the shield, pick it up, put it down. It doesn't matter. The bubble, I would do it simply. People say, how do you actually get the bubble to go in place? Well, I just say, bubble up or bubble down. What else do you need to say? Do you really expect me to stand there and cast a complicated spell? No. You're in the shop, for heaven's sake. Just stand there, bubble up. And when you come out, you've had enough, bubble down. Get on with your life. It is so easy, and people don't do it. They want something more difficult. Sad, because people don't listen to the simple solutions, but they do work. But only, and this is the big caveat, they only work if you do them. It's no good thinking about it. It's no good saying I didn't have time, I didn't feel like it, I didn't think about it till afterwards. Of course it won't work. It will only work if you have the effort in place and you do it. Anyway, enough from me. Hope you find it helpful, and thank you very much for listening. Bye.